All right, it's been a minute since we've talked. Things have been a little bit stressful, a little bit intense, so we are here now. We been dealing with some just overall crazy week last week, so everything kind of got thrown around. We had gigs, recording studio, we had a lot of shit thrown at us, but this week we are back in action. All is good. Today we got back up within the normal time. Well, it was 5:45. I'm trying out a little bit of a later wake up, trying to see if that will be a bit better. Only issue with it is it gives me less time to get in the plunge. But, you know, at the end of the day, that's not that bad. That's okay. We can make it work. We just gotta be, have great trust and great honor. No cowardice, and just get in that thing. We got in this morning. It was all good, no problems. But yeah, 5:45 to about a 6:10 relaxation, and 6:10 to 6:10 we get in the plunge and then get to the gym. But we've trained quads today, so the reason I wanted to talk was the post-workout recap. So we started off with that hack squat, and overall felt pretty good. I think I need to start training adductors specifically now, isolate them. That's part just feels weak. It's a weak muscle right now. So I trained some of that in this workout. Felt good, wasn't really terrible, you know. I had no lingering pain from the hack squat, predominantly being on the quads, you know. But it's important that we don't fuck that up. That is one thing that I do not want to fuck up, because I have had groin problems before, I've had leg problems, I've had hamstring problems, I've had an array of problems, and I just want to avoid all the problems. If we avoid all the problems, then we stay healthy, fresh, and we can keep doing what we love. So that is number one. But then after that, we did some leg extensions. Now, I was talking to my friend about this yesterday, but what is the proper amount of negative time? Like, how long should the negative movement of your training, your exercise go, you know? And I was really thinking about this. Let me see if I can get this exposure fixed a little bit, and we'll go into it. So for me, you know, it's really hard on certain movements like chest press or bench, or hell, even squats, to be able to know how long you should hold that negative for. From everything that I've been looking at recently, it seems that the negative is hands down the most essential, vital portion of the rep, you know, allowing for that deep stretch, going about halfway up. Mainly just the deep stretch, and the negative is the most anabolic, you know, portion of the rep range, right? So I was doing leg extensions, one leg, and you can kind of see if you go back a little bit in this video, and you can see when I'm doing the leg extensions. For that movement, since I'm like extending my leg out, right? It's not like a thing where like you can lock it out, right? Like you lock out your leg in that position, but it's more of like a pushing down angle rather than like a back at you or like an away from you, right? So I feel like when I hit that, you know, that contraction, and I try to hold it as hard as I could, no matter how hard I hold it, my leg is gonna go down. No matter how hard I hold, like I can hold it for a good amount of time, but it's gonna go down at some point. Kind of like a pull-up. When you pull yourself up, right, at some point you're gonna slowly release, because you're not really at like a pull. You're kind of like this, right, which is kind of the same as the leg extension. So when I do that, like, I'm not counting because it's incredibly painful, but I would imagine that amount of negative time where you are holding the muscle at that point of contraction, right, and your body automatically lowers it where you're not doing anything, I would argue that that's probably the best, you know, negative time that you can do for any of the movements, just because you're not really putting it on time in your brain. You could probably hold it. You are allowing your body to take full control of the movement, and all you got to do is resist the negative, which is kind of crazy, because my entire life, the training, you know, the meta was, you know, the contraction, the squeeze, the real, the squeeze, you know, just that part. And you know, now it seems that the part that you really need to shine on is that negative, that deep stretch, right? So, and that kind of training is definitely, in my opinion, the most painful kind of training, because you are stretching out the muscle as deep as you can. You can't really throw the weight around, right? Because with that type of movement, you kind of you can't really go heavier than what your body can take. You know, I could throw 220 on lat pull down and throw that, you know, throw the shit around, right? But if I had a negative into that, am I going to get it for 8 reps? Probably not. I'm probably going to need to pull that thing back, you know? Like, it's the most ideal, right? You completely take your brain out of the situation. All you got to do is hold it, right? So now you can't go so heavy that you can't get the weight up, right? Like an ideal world of what, like I was listening to Mike Menser audio thing, and it was a point that was agreed on amongst other fitness experts, was that like the contraction, holding it, you know, and then letting it go down, right? That's what you want, right? You would, Mike Menser was like, you'd hold that contraction for, you know, long as you can, right? And then you slowly let that thing go down to the point of like the deep negative where you have to hit the positive again, right? So it's a training style that I'd like to implement what I'm doing. I don't want to go down in weight, right? But as I'm losing weight, I'm gonna slowly have to drop weight. I'm not trying to go lighter than the weight that I did during my bulk, which has been quite difficult in some aspects. But this guy's driving like a lunatic. But I think that's kind of the overall goal of what we're going to try to do here. I think also it's a safer way of lifting, because then it's just, you can't overload. If the stretch is too quick, you know, then you know you're going too heavy. Or sorry, if the negative is too quick, you know you're going too heavy. So you need to like dial that back so that you don't tear anything, obviously. And obviously don't hyperextend on like certain movements like biceps and like hamstring curls, right? Because you don't want to tear anything, right? Like you can get a pretty good stretch on the bicep curl. Imagine a preacher curl movement and you're letting your hands go all the way to the bottom. If you flex your elbows out at the bottom, you're going to most likely end up tearing your bicep. And if you do the same thing with hamstrings, you might tear a hamstring. So just be conscientious of that aspect, because you don't want to take yourself out. So I'm thinking that like type of negative is probably the way that you want to go and to approach the game, you know? But we'll see. It's hard. Easier said than done, you know? Especially with that kind of movement. Easier said than fucking done, boys. All right. Well, we just got back to the lovely homestead. We got to get dressed and we got to go to work. So, oh shit. My camera's freaking out. As always, I hope you have a wonderful and a phenomenal day. And I will see you tomorrow for arms.